So maybe that will be something that comes up in the future. But for now, I'm also working on another project that's more along the lines of what you're talking about, because, you know, the dream, remote viewing and all these other things. But I don't know about together if we'll end up doing that or not.
It's totally possible.
Of course it is.
Bobby also asks,
Hey, look at
do
this.
we have friction when it comes to my book writing process? Do I cloister myself away and do you not try to bug me?
We have, well, this is the collab. You know, we come in here to work together and we do it downstairs as well sometimes. But we also have separate offices and it's very natural. So we will just
right.
I would say we have a bit of a pattern now where in the mornings, some mornings we won't do business, but some mornings we will do an hour of business together.
Right.
Because I need him to do so many things. And then we separate and work on our own projects for the whole day. It's just natural because I have a whole bunch of things that I'm working on, either for the site or other things, but also my own research.
It's kind of necessary.
Yeah. So it actually flows perfectly.
I would say in the earlier period, we didn't have as much of that time. And so
it's true. We worked together a lot.
It was tougher. I don't know how
Well, we were building all of this.
We were working on, exactly. So we're at a point now where things have settled out and we can do this. And it's definitely a good thing. So thank you for the question.
But don't you think it works well the way we have it?
I do, yes.
It works really well.
I definitely like this. A lot of times I'll work in this room alone.
Yeah.
And you've got your office over the way. When the weather gets a little warmer, my downstairs office will be very pleasant. Right now, without the space
he's kind of got two offices, so that's nice.
I do, yeah.
His basement.
With my books, the library. And I actually look forward to working. I'll be working down there, I think, before long.
Yeah. We're trying to get back to more of our research, but it's tough. It's tough.
Jenny Mimon asks, hello again, Richard and Tracy. Loads of questions. She's got... All right, Jenny, you're taking advantage here, young lady.
They're
I see 4 questions.
I'm sorry, you guys. I want to get over.
She's got 4 questions.
Oh, Jenny.
So just going, and then, the other people have multiple questions, but
okay,
I think she wins for this round. First, this is for me, I guess. Do you think any of the alleged retrieved crash in possession of the U.S. government are from archaeological digs, as stated by Bob Lazar? I have no reason to believe that. I'm not aware of any research that actually supports that. I'm not willing to say I think he's making this up. I don't really know how or where he got that information, but in the research that I've been looking at, I'm just not aware of any independent researcher coming to that conclusion. So my attitude is I push that to the side until I have any other reason to support it. I don't believe it. Question 2, are you aware of what Grant Cameron is up to regarding DNA experiments? He keeps mentioning it, but so far has been somewhat vague in explaining what he means. Well, I think you're really talking about the DNA research of Kit Green and even connected to Putoff and some other folks who are researching the genetics of contact.
That's what he's probably talking about.
Because Grant has been talking about this for a long time. Grant's absolutely interested in it, but he's not doing any of that research. He's following along like the rest of us. And the fact is, I don't know where they are up to.
No, when you talked to Kit last time,
right?
I was like, ask him about the experiments, but he didn't talk to you about it. He said a little something, and you guys said you would talk again, and I don't think that happened.
No, but I'm going to do an interview with some other folks, and I think we're going to get to the bottom of that.
Okay.
I want to dive into that.
I mean,
right now I don't know.
I want to know. We all want to know if any more information about that.
Then Jenny says, I'm tempted to ask something about COVID-19, but by the time we get to the live show, the situation will change. Well, I just gave a little bit of an overview of that for now. So how about that as the answer? And then she says, do you ever argue just before a live show? We've had a couple of moments where things are a little testy.
Yeah.
Once or twice.
I can't remember what happened. A couple times we've nothing
big.
This is so relaxed, coming here.
Never for this. Never for this. We're talking YouTube live stream.
But for the YouTube one, there's a little more pressure. And sometimes I can tell you, if there are some technical problems, someone gets really upset.
Not me.
Understandably, right?
Well,
because we're trying to do it right at 8:00. We don't want to be late.
It's true.
And we have had a heck of a time, even with our little simple setup here. A heck of a time.
Oh, it can be maddening at times.
with it working every single time. And
absolutely.
And Richard's that's kind of his responsibility. And he gets very, very upset if there's problems. Again, understandably.
You never get upset ever.
I totally do.
At any time.
If I can't think of a good example of what, but it's rare. It's rare that it happens.
Oh.
But you know what's funny? Because I was trying to watch back on a couple of our shows and get some clips myself, short clips.
Yeah.
And I saw one show where I don't know if anyone else noticed, but it was showing on my face. I just thought, wonder if anyone else sees that.
But you were annoyed, or you were?
Something must have happened right before the show. And I'm.
Usually the answer is no. Usually we're in a very good mood before we go in. We collaborate very well together.
Yeah.
But it's been testy once in a while.
Yeah.
Nothing bad, nothing huge, and nothing that lasts.
No, for us, it's very short-lived. We're so lucky. We just get along so well. So
now that we're in quarantine together, it's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, right.
So Andy Kenny, a fellow Rochester native, he writes, "Hi, Andy. What are your thoughts?" This was an interesting question. I recall this. What are your thoughts on establishing a new baseline of sorts for serious students of the UFO phenomenon, whereby there'd be one list or document, white paper of extremely well-researched and footnoted cases, unclassified docs, etc., not unlike what you're doing now. The purpose being to end the bickering and separate the serious from the delusional. Instances of governmental admissions and blatant cover-ups are numerous, yet many in the UFO community can't agree on what day it is. It's a great question, and you're right. That is exactly what particularly UFOs and the national security state was absolutely designed to do. That's exactly what that was designed to do. And the thing is, and yes, there will be a volume 3, but the fact is, it's not going to solve the problem. There have been white papers before. Back in the 90s, there was the UFOs Best Evidence edited by Don Berliner. That's a really nice compendium of good documents relating to the UFO subject. And there are other good studies that have come out, and they're all worthwhile, but it doesn't stop hoaxers and fakers and gurus from traipsing out into the field. They still do that. I'm going to make this text all larger. Let me just get a little closer so we can actually just give us a second here, guys. I'm
in between with my glasses. I'm farsighted, so this is
here we go. So
really tough. I'm in between.
Make this bad boy bigger. Go there.
Oh, wow, that's huge. I'm
gonna scroll all the way up.
Take a long time.
That's much better. Much better. Hold on here. There we are. Is that better for you to read?
Yeah, I'm cleaning my glasses. Hold on.
So I think it's kind of a hopeless mission to stop the bickering. I mean, here's the thing. Any academic field you go into in the university world, which is they've got peer review, for God's sake, which we don't have anything like that. They can't agree on things, right? There's always infighting galore in every single field. I can't possibly see how ufology is going to be able to do any better. So for my part, I agree with your perspective that it would be, it's valuable to establish those types of baselines. And that's essentially the work that I try to do. So that's my answer. Now there's a question for you. How about I just read
I just want people to know I have my phone here because I'm just going to be honest with you. Sometimes I need Kirsten to help me out and give me some notes.
Now, is that large enough, by the way?
Yeah, that's better. Like sometimes it's hard for me when the chat keeps going to see some things. So she'll remind me of some things. So I'm not just randomly texting people. I'm here with you guys.
Well, yeah, I was going to say no one, but that's not true. I mean, there are some contemporary abduction researchers and writers who are still out there doing the work. I mean, there's Yvonne Smith and there's Barbara Lamb. There's Kathleen Marden, Denise Stoner. None of them are super young either, but they're all out there doing this. But there's not really a whole lot more, frankly. And compared to the previous generation of abduction researchers, when you had people like Bud Hopkins, John Mack, Dave Jacobs, Bud and John Mack are gone, and David's now basically retired. Those three pioneers, without a doubt, had a much higher public profile than their successors. I mean, Yvonne Smith does great work, and I love and respect what she does. And the same with Kathleen Marden, and really all of them. They do very good work, but they do not have the public profile by any stretch that John Mack did, that Bud did, that Dave Jacobs has had. And to be perfectly fair, those three men were really superior writers. And it's not that the current batch of abduction writers aren't good writers, but those three pioneers were actually great writers. Like, they were well above the average level of writing that you would get. I mean, Bud Hopkins was an absolutely beautiful writer. And John Mack, excellent writer. And Jacobs is just a very excellent academic writer. He does great work. So they were able to move a public conversation in ufology into the area of abductions back in the 80s and 90s in particular, where it's not there anymore. I am not seeing in ufology, I'm just not seeing much of a conversation about it. And so here I am, I'm looking at myself actually engaging it. And here the thing with me is I'm not an experiencer even. So I've got my own blind spots. Whenever I discuss the subject of aliens, I'm always going to have a certain blind spot and be at a certain disadvantage. Not because of disbelief, because I don't have disbelief. I believe in them. I believe that there are aliens that are here. But simply because I'll just never be able really to have the perspective and the depth of understanding that a genuine experiencer of this phenomenon has had. And I'm quite aware of that. And then the other thing that I just don't have, this is okay, but I don't have that, because I'm not an experiencer, I don't have that absolute certainty that can only come as a result of having that experience. I mean, what we do, what I do in this subject is I've always walked a line. What I mean is, on one side of that line are all the things that I know are true. So like, I know from the countless Freedom of Information Act documents that we've gotten through the government, I know that there's a provable military component to the UFO subject in the sense that our military, the US military, has engaged with these UFOs in, at times, a very confrontational way. And it's also been very clear that they don't know what these things are. Like, I know that there's a phenomenon just going on that evidence alone. And then there's a lot of other things that I know based on the available evidence. But what I don't, there's a whole, on the other side of that line, there's a lot of things that I haven't experienced. Like, I haven't been abducted unless I've been abducted and I don't know. But if that's the case, then I don't know. So I don't have that experience to fall back on. I did have a couple of vague, interesting but vague UFO sightings in my life. I've talked about those from time to time. Nothing incredible, but they were interesting. But they were also very isolated. And so there's this whole area of experience that I have on this side that I haven't had. And so for that reason, there'll always be this lack of total certainty. And so what I will call that is simply a faith that I have in the evidence that these things are true also. And that's fine. Like, you can have a faith based on evidence. And I think that's what probably I have if I really think about it. So that's the line that I walk on, that line, the line between knowing and unknowing, the line of evidence plus faith in the extrapolation of the facts that are in front of me. But I don't have the certainty. I don't have that certainty. But anyway, enough about that. So when I get to the rest of the UFO community, it seems to me, with the exception of the few researchers that I've just mentioned, Kathleen Martin, Yvonne Smith, Barbara Lamb, Denise Stone, a couple of others. I mean, with them as the exception, it really does seem that most of the UFO community has just walked away from the subject of abductions and encounters in general. Does that seem the case to you? It seems the case that that's so with me. And that in general, I think what we've seen since TTSA and the New York Times have stepped into this field in 2017, since that time, I think we've seen a stepping back among researchers in any desire to discuss aliens per se. We've gotten into other important and interesting elements of the UFO phenomenon. Even crash retrievals is making a little hint of a comeback, which is very good, it's very important. But this whole phenomenon of encounters, when you really think, that is where the rubber meets the road. It's like, and for those of you who've had the experiences, you know exactly that this is true. As dramatic as everything else is, nothing is ever going to be more dramatic, ever, than having a face-to-face encounter with a non-human intelligence that's here, that's interacting, and that's doing stuff to you. That's doing medical procedures to you, or doing biological, psychological procedures to you. And by the way, that's doing them in conjunction with some kind of military. In the book that I'm writing, I've incorporated several firsthand accounts that point to that as one element of what's going on. But anyway, so nothing's going to be more significant than a personal encounter with a non-human entity that's operating these UFOs. And yet, you know, we really seem to have walked away from it in our general public conversation, even among researchers. Maybe I'm missing something. Who is really publishing abduction-related work these days? I really probably should have checked this before I started this conversation here with you today, but are there any websites that really focus on abductions and experiences? And I'm not sure about it. Here at this site, we have the Experiencers Meetup, which that's amazing. That's an amazing thing. I have personally not participated in them, but at least I get the feedback, and I know just how incredible they are. I'm very proud that we're doing that, but I'm not aware of other places where this is being done and discussed. So it seems to me that the whole phenomenon of encounters with these other aliens, let's call them by what they are, that's gone away to a large extent. I mean, again, I'd like those of you who may know better to correct me if I'm mistaken on this. I would like to know about what other current resources there are, or other researchers that I may not be thinking about. Even things like talk about alien implants seems to have receded quite significantly since Dr. Roger Lear passed away, which that's been, when was that? That close to 10 years ago, more than 5 years ago, when Roger died. You know, he has not been replaced, and his loss is quite significant. Quite significant. We really need for that research to be picked up, and that's relevant to, of course, this whole idea of alien agendas and alien beings. So all of that, the whole absence of this whole element to the conversation, at least in the last 3-5 years or whatever in ufology, as I'm writing this book, it's almost, the act of writing this book has almost made me feel like a foreigner in my own country, as it were, in the nation of ufology, as it were. As I'm writing about all the aliens, short grays, tall grays, the ebens, the human-looking non-humans, the mantids, the reptilians, to say nothing about what these groups are doing. And what are they doing when they're abducting people? What the hell is going on there? So it's been fascinating, and I'm so glad that I am doing it. And I do believe that this book will be done soon. Like, I kept expecting it to be done in October, and now we're getting into the later part of October. I still think there's a good chance it will be done. I just keep adding and adding and adding, but I see that beginning to wind down. But yeah, it's like within the larger UFO community, the conversation about that aspect of the phenomenon seems to have stopped. I'm not seeing a whole lot being done about it. So again, if you're aware of places in ufology where this is an active subject, that is aliens, what they're doing, what their agendas might be, please tell me or write it below.